Welcome back, everybody. Episode 32 of the Jiu Jitsu Dummies podcast. We're sponsored by Fight Back CBD. Get 15% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. We're also sponsored by War Bar Soap. Give them a close-up, Bo. War Bar Soap, you get 25% off of their hygiene products with code JJD at warbarsoap.com. These are the guys over at Power X Core as well. This is the spray that I love. After rolling, I spray myself down and he gets the yuckies off. All right. I'm also going to give a really quick shout out to Bo. You got me on the camera there. Operation Grapple. They sent us some cool teas. And Bo, last episode or on our holiday episode, or what are we calling it, the holiday episode or the holiday message?
I think it's
where our guest didn't show.
Episode.
You asked for a military green T-shirt. I know you wanted the We Defy T-shirt, but we delivered here. They sent us T-shirts for everybody. He labeled this as juniors, but you guys didn't pick the shirt color, so this one's yours. So I'm like I did last time. I'm going to open up your gift.
Excellent.
Show it
Thank
on
you.
camera first.
Thank you. That's badass.
You got it. You got what you wanted. I hope you just really wanted the color.
No, that's perfect.
Operation Grapple. You got that there on my camera?
Yep.
Very cool.
Here, I'm going to get on that camera,
Very
on the other camera, even closer.
And they've got you got some stickers, and you've actually got an iron-on in this bag too, Bo. So you want to put the logo on something else. I'm going to toss this to you, Bo.
Where I
Ready?
become Iron-On Man?
Bo. There you go. All right.
I become Iron-On Man?
Operation Grapple. They are spreading the word of jiu-jitsu and how it can help relieve stress in our daily lives. A portion of the profits from their T-shirt sales on their website go to veterans charities and help combat suicide, depression, PTSD, and other mental health concerns. I believe you can get them at Operation Grapple _USA. Let me actually just...
I just put up the website.
Yeah. Let me actually... I want to make sure that I got that right for everybody. So it's Operation Grapple. Yeah. Operation Grapple _USA. That's them on Instagram right there, guys. So go check them out. Show them some love. Let them know the dummy sent you. All right. Bo, you got your new shirt.
Thank you.
Also, this is really cool. Now, I've been out, Corona, holiday, Turkey Day, sick. But we've got our new friends over at Crown Rash Guards. This is really cool. I didn't get your rash guard, Bo, because you're not rolling yet. So I don't
need to be slippery yet.
Ranked rash guards for me, Miguel, and Junior. I love this because I love everything black. So,
cool.
Bo, another close up. You got my camera there.
Go to the other camera. Go to the other camera.
Very cool, right?
Nice.
Very cool. Obviously, again,
I like
ranked.
the black and purple color.
Yeah, their kind of thing is like minimalist, right? So you can check them out at crownrashguards.com. This is right. They've got the short sleeve there. You got that, Bo?
Yep.
You got the short sleeve there. I opted for the long sleeve. I think Miguel went for the short sleeve blue.
Yeah, your arms are not like the arm in that picture.
No. I modeled for this. I modeled for these.
Come on, that's your leg's not that big.
So again, huge shout out.
It's for superheroes.
Again, I got Miguel and Junior's rash guards here when they join us again.
Very nice.
So let's check them out, everybody. Again, love companies that are doing something outside of jiu-jitsu as well as kind of taking the sport to the next level. So this one is really cool as well, Bo. I'm going to do this one now. This is called the Stinky Bag.
Ooh.
All right. We got the...
Let me guess, it has to do with smells.
We've got the belt debate, the wash your belt debate. Well, this bag
bury your belt.
is going to allow you to... You can put your gi, your belt, your gym equipment, your wraps if you're a fighter. You can put everything into this bag, all right? You zip it up. You can attach it to your bag or throw it in your bag. This is really cool right now for first responders, nurses, doctors. They need to throw their scrubs into a bag or they want to take them home and wash them. What do most people do? They throw them in the Publix bag. They throw them in a shopping bag, and then they throw it in next to their food and their backpacks. Well, now you've got a bag that you can put it in. Now, this is the really cool part, Bo. All right, check this out. Now, you go to the bottom of the bag, right? And you're going to pull out.
Whoa.
The mesh bag, just like that, and you could just throw the whole thing in the wash, even with this piece up here on top. Okay, so you just throw the whole thing.
Mind blown.
You throw the whole thing into the wash.
That's really cool.
So really cool. Comes out the other side. Now, this is an extra large bag because I definitely wanted to fit my gi top and my pants, again, my belt, rash guard I can even throw in here when I get home.
Your sport cup.
Usually change take everything off when I get home.
Sport cup takes up all the space.
But again, this is really cool. I found them online. I hit them up. I'm like, you definitely need to be talking to the jiu-jitsu community because this is perfect for us.
Oh, it really is. And it washes the bag, so your stuff could be sweaty, nasty.
Yeah, that's it. Take it back out. Take your stuff out. Now, you in some cases for us, a gi top, maybe you want to take it out. Maybe you want to throw it in by itself. That's fine. You can go grab it, but you have the ability to throw the whole thing in there. So again, this is it's STNKY. It's called a Stinky Bag, right? You can check them out. I should have put this up on the screen before. You can check them out at stnky.us. And again, it's not just for jiu-jitsu. If you know anybody that's got, leaves work, they've got really dirty clothes, you got to throw them in somewhere, and they're just not, they're putting it in their backpack with the food that they bring to work and their water bottle. This is for them. So go check them out again. Tell them the dummy sent you. Appreciate that, guys. I got a couple more for the crew. Again, Bo, sorry I didn't get you one of these. I start getting you this kind of stuff when you start to roll.
Oh,
all right, brother.
Oh, it's
like that.
Quid pro quo. Huh?
All right. Now, huge shout out to Flow and Roll at flow_n_roll on Instagram. Get 20% off your online order with code JJD at flowandroll.com. Again, as always, check out their Instagram and look at all their custom work. They're down with Jits King down in Miami today doing an event, a kids event. I believe it's 7 to 17, and some of these kids are going to wind up on Flow Grappling, so that's going to be really cool as well. If I didn't mention, stick around, everybody, because we have Jim Alers coming on the show. He's a UFC vet, and he's a current Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship fighter. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Come on, spit it out, man.
Boy, I got a mouthful.
So we got him coming on the show in just a few minutes. I'm real excited about this. He's amazing. He came to our gym the week before last. I rolled with him. He was banged up from his last fight. I was like, you look familiar, because I haven't really been that much of a Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship watcher. I maybe watch it on Instagram, but I watch a couple of his fights now. It's amazing. It's really cool.
Black eye looks really familiar.
As always, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share wherever you're watching. Click that bell on YouTube. Make sure you're getting our alerts. With the holidays coming, don't forget to support us. Really, the Jiu Jitsu Dummies Foundation, our foundation where we award one-year scholarships to deserving children, kids that are doing some really cool stuff in and outside of Jiu Jitsu. So you can check us out. You can find all of our properties, all of our pages if you go to our main Instagram at Jiu Jitsu Dummies. Click on the link in the bio. Everything is there. But support us on Amazon Smile. Follow the directions on our Instagram. You can just go to Amazon Smile. You have to go to Amazon, open up your app, go to your settings, click on Amazon Smile. It's a real easy setup. You choose the Jiu Jitsu Dummies as the organization that you want to donate to, and they give us a small portion of every order, most orders I should say, because it's not every single product, but they'll give us a couple of bucks, and we get it every quarter, so every bit is helpful. We've got 2 scholarships out there right now, Bridger Walker, Gemma Fiorenza, and we've got hopefully one before the end of this year, maybe by the end of January if we've got to stretch a bit. So appreciate all of your help, guys. Stay tuned to the end of the episode. Learn a little bit more about the foundation and how we're helping people pay for their tournament fees. They raise a little money for us, then we'll pay for your tournament fees, up to $100 per tournament. All right. I'm Milton Campus, Purple Belt, Fight Sports, Coral Springs. You can check me out on Instagram at Uncle Milty BJJ. It's just me and Bo today. Again, a lot going on. Happy anniversary to Miguel and his wife. Junior is working. So again, it's me and Bo here today. Bo, say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
So last week we were supposed to do episode 32. It is not today's guest that dipped out on us. Today's guest is today's guest. last week's guest didn't show. We were a few minutes late. He took off. He didn't wait. Sad about it, but we did a little holiday message. So, we're getting close to this. Will obviously come out before Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in and supporting us. Just, keep on sharing and telling the world about us. We've got some really, really cool guests lined up for the coming month and into the new year, so it's going to be quite a ride. So just give us a second. We're going to get Jim Alers on this screen right here, and we're going to talk some jiu-jitsu, bare knuckle fighting, MMA, UFC. We're going to do it all. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we just cut away. We're back. Joining us today is UFC veteran, jiu-jitsu black belt, owner of Alers Martial Arts in Pembroke Pines, Jim Alers. Am I saying it right? Alers? It's Alers.
Man, you got it right.
All right, all right. I was a little nervous about that one. Everybody says it a little different.
Yeah, everyone says it Alers.
Yeah.
I can see where they say it from, and who knows, maybe down the line it was Alers, but
yeah.
The way my dad taught me, was Alers, so that's what I went with.
All right, cool, man. Well, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Oh, for sure, man.
So we met, you came out, how do you know our professor, Felipe? I met you at an open mat the other day, asked you to come on the show.
So it's funny, actually, my wife, she started training about 2 years ago with me. And, I'm just trying to introduce her to the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, how how everybody's just real cool and you're able to just train with people and just talk to people and meet cool people, So, we had somebody come visit our gym, Nami from
over
there, and her husband actually trains with me. So they train at two different schools, and so she came to visit and she invited my wife to go train over there. Okay. And I was like, hey, I'll go with you. And then I ended up going and I didn't even know who the instructor was until I got there. And I was like, oh man, we trained at Fight Sports together. I knew I was going to a Fight Sports. I just didn't put two and two together.
Yeah.
And when I saw him, I was like, oh, shoot, awesome. And it was funny because the week before, I asked him to show me some lockdown stuff.
Ah, yeah.
And so he did it at the class. So I thought that was really cool of him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you train in Miami at the headquarters in Miami now? Is that your home gym for yourself?
So when I have competitions coming up and stuff, I try to get there as much as possible. Having your own gym, it's very hard to do that. And especially jiu-jitsu really hasn't been my main thing, right? I got into bare knuckle now more recently, and I've been training a lot of that. But I have a fight to win stuff coming up soon, so I'll probably end up going back down again. But yeah, I usually go to those pro classes.
So you brought up the lockdown. Did you see the fight to win last night?
Yes, man.
That was awesome. Kai, his son Kai, and Professor Felipe both used the lockdown in their matches.
Yeah, I thought that was real cool. Man, that's why I wanted to show him. I remember he showed me, and I was just like, man, he was very knowledgeable from it. And I was like, man, I don't know too much from there. I know of it. I know, some things, but it was really cool to get a second view.
Yeah, that's my go-to move. I do that lockdown to the electric chair. I think wrestlers call it the banana split. Yes. Most old timers like me that are more hobbyists than anything, we're not professional fighters. If we get that leg over the shoulder, I think last night he went for kind of like the knee, but if you just stretch it out, you get them. We call it the pee-pee splitter at the gym.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my go-to move. I love it. And then if you noticed, they both even his son did it. I was joking with him online. They do the thing with the finger where they point once they get the arm under the leg and they point. So he does it just like his dad.
Yeah.
That was awesome, man. So let's go back in time a little bit here. Let's go. How did you get into martial arts yourself? When did that all start?
I must have I did like a little karate thing when I was a little kid, but that didn't really get me into martial arts. I would say, it was more like parents making me go, and I didn't love it. It was like a karate type thing. And honestly, even back then as a kid, it just felt, I love all martial arts. I think all martial arts have their own place, but to me, it just didn't feel like it would work, like in a real fight.
Mm-hmm.
And even as a kid. And I think I'm in high school. I ran into this wrestler, and he was just like, I don't want to, like, a kid that I would never think would be able to like beat me up. Because in my head, you know, I can fight. You know, I was like in all these fights at school, you know, with bullies and stuff. But I always did good at defending myself. And I was like, man, I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
And so he was like, oh, I bet, you know, I can, you know, beat you up pretty much, like out wrestle, whatever it is. And I'm like, no, there's no way. There's no way you can do it. He was like smaller kid and everything. And I mean, we went into the back behind the portables, and we had like a little scrap, you know, not real punching, but we were like slapping, like messing around in high school. And I couldn't believe that he just kept taking me down, getting on top of me, slapping me. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Next year I'm going to go to wrestling. And he was like, sure you are. So kept to my word, went to wrestling, and just kind of fell in love with that. But then after wrestling, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It was just hardcore. Like I picked it up really fast, did really good my junior and senior year, but I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. 6 months after that, I looked for something similar to wrestling on the internet, and I found jiu-jitsu. Didn't really know too much about it. But I saw like in the pictures that they were like grappling. So I just went to the school, I saw a class, and I was like, oh man, this is just like wrestling. And I was like, do you guys do competitions? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, all right, sign me up. Didn't even take a class. And then just fell in love with it, man.
That's awesome. You hear a lot of those stories. Like I have a similar story in the way I started. I was forced to go to karate. Then I did a little wrestling. I didn't find jiu-jitsu till I was an old man. I was 41 when I got into jiu-jitsu. But always a huge UFC fan, you know. But I hear that a lot, not just my story, but a lot of people like, yeah, my parents made me go to karate and I didn't want to go, and hi-ya and katas and all this stuff. And and I think a lot of us just really want to kind of get in there, scrap and learn what we can do. Is that, you know, those guys that come to the gym and be like, they think they're going to learn a rear naked choke the first day. Like, show me that choke. Yeah. How do I choke people? What is this about, right? I think a lot of people have a similar story. So, okay, so fast forward. So you start doing jiu-jitsu. Again, you were in high school at that point, or had you left high school?
I had just graduated high school.
Okay.
I was 18 years old when I started jiu-jitsu.
Okay. And you are now a black belt. At what age did you receive your black belt?
So I've been a black belt now. It's going to be 6 years in April.
Okay.
So, let me see then. How old am I? 34, about 28 years old.
Okay.
So it took me about 9 years to get my black belt.
So you know, I saw you at the tournament. What was that, Grappling Federation? I saw you at the tournament. I think you just had your bare knuckle fight, which we're definitely going to get into. But I saw you at the tournament. I'm like, I know this guy. You had your sunglasses on. You took them off, and I saw, you know, I'm like, okay, I saw the marks and the eyes, and I said, oh, okay, now I know who it is. And then the next Saturday, I see you in my gym. I'm like, holy shit. What's the first thing I said to you when we rolled? I'm like, bare knuckle fighting, right? you said, yeah, you just nodded your head. Do you still do tournaments yourself, or were you there for the kids? So you know, your students. Tell me a little bit about that side, because you did mention before, like, you know, you go to fight sports to get some training in before a tournament.
Yeah. So, man, I just want to be, honestly, like the most active competitor out there. You know, I see people say, oh, I'm the most active competitor, but they just do jiu-jitsu. Or I see people, I'm the most active, but they just fight. Like, I want to compete in everything and do everything, you know? So whether it's bare knuckle, MMA, jiu-jitsu, and I will honestly compete in any kind of tournament. You know, to me, a lot of black belts have become like prima donnas now, almost. It's maybe some black belts might not like for me to say this, but like they won't compete unless they get paid, you know? And to me, man, it's always been for the love of it. I've always had fun competing. Same way why I found jiu-jitsu was because I wanted to just compete. And I loved that competition mindset. And so if I have to pay for a tournament, man, I understand. You know, I understand the business side of it too. These tournaments need to make money. By supporting this tournament, you know, hopefully it sticks around and more people can find jiu-jitsu and love for competition, and my students are able to compete. So I don't mind paying for a tournament or anything like that. So I compete in everything. You'll see me at a New Breed competing. And it's sad that, you know, there's not a lot of black belts. that really compete in those kinds. So I'll go against, purple belts. And I think sometimes black belts are kind of scared, maybe. Like they go against a purple belt. What if they lose? Doesn't matter to me, man. I want to learn from everybody and see what's out there.
So you mentioned you've got a fight to win yourself coming up. Where are you going to be fighting? What city?
So I'm trying to fight in the one down here that's coming down in January.
Okay.
So I'm going to start training hard for that one. I'm 2-0 so far in fight to win. So I like how they keep the record and everything. So it's pretty cool. The only problem is the guy who has the belt is Wagner. And I gotta ask Wagner, come on, man, just give it up. Give up the fight to win already.
So would you fight him?
No way. I wouldn't. I as a purple belt, I moved a lot of back and forth coming up from Orlando to South Florida. So I trained with Wagner when I came down here. And I was in Orlando at the time, and me and Wagner were at a Copa, and we were going for the absolute. And I won my first match. He won his first match. So it was supposed to be me and Wagner. And he's like, are you just going to let me slide? And I'm like, come on, man, let's just grapple, man. Let me have a try. And man, he submitted me so fast.
Oh man.
I remember I was a purple belt at the time, and he was, of course, a black belt still.
Was that the Avengers days that I hear about? They called themselves
that was the Avengers, man. It was such a good Copa tournament. It had Wagner was in it, Buchecha was in it, Cyborg was in it at a Copa that's ran in Lakeland. It's a regional tournament, and it was really cool. Like you look back, all these big name guys were in that tournament.
That's a murderer's row right there, boy. I'd walk in and walk out. Oops, I forgot something in the car.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so we've got, you start out with jiu-jitsu, you're still competing in tournaments. Let's go back to UFC days. So how did that happen? How did you get into the UFC? And just kind of give me that little bit of a ride there if you can.
So fighting wasn't really in my mindset. I just wanted to compete. I liked jiu-jitsu. I didn't really even know too much about MMA. And then at the gym that I was at, I was training when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was in Orlando, and I was training at a Gracie Barra there. And Gracie Barra was really the only school up there at the time in 2005. And so I had a bunch of guys at the gym that were like doing this fighting stuff that I didn't really know too much about it, and never watched the UFC. And they were like, I was like, man, I want to learn how to do that, and they wouldn't let me train MMA till I was a blue belt. So I would just sit and watch them. Like I'd come early and sit and watch them. And just because I was so fascinated by it, and I would go start watching some of their fights, they were fought regional, and I would go watch them. And a lot of good guys came from that gym. Ben Saunders used to train there.
Oh yeah.
So it was a lot of up and coming guys. I guess I started there, and made it to UFC. There's this guy, Paul Rodriguez. He fought in Pride at the time. So it was really cool to watch these guys once I started to get to know who they were. And then somebody asked me one day, I think I was a purple belt at the time, hey, do you want to have a fight? And I was like, sure, man, I want to give it a try. And then it was at my college. So it was at UCF, which was a big time I thought for me. There was a couple thousand people there. And for my first fight, it was really cool to fight in front of my school. And then I was just going to be like a one and done thing, and I remember in college at the time, I was like, oh, $500. Yeah. Awesome. Felt like that was a ton of money, and it helped me out definitely with school. And then they're like, hey, do you want to do it again? We'll pay you $800. And so I was like, yeah, sure. And then I was just going to school at the same time and just fighting because, again, it was fun, and I was just, doing well at it. And then when I graduated with my degree in elementary education. And I was like, should I go and be a teacher, or should I try to do this fighting thing? I was 7-1 at the time. And then I just decided I can always come back and be a teacher, and just took off with the fighting, and one thing led to another, and I made it to UFC.
So you had a couple of regionals first. How many Did you do amateur fights, or essentially was that like pro?
No.
You just went
so
into.
I just went straight pro.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't have that rule that you had to do amateur. So
Okay.
now in Florida, you have to have 5 amateurs before you go pro.
Okay.
So I just went pro. I ended up fighting in like around Orlando and South Florida a couple times. And then when I was 7-1, I got picked up by this promotion, Cage Warriors, that's based in the UK. That's where Conor McGregor and stuff came from. And I started fighting for them overseas. So I fought like in Jordan, Bahrain, England, Ireland, Scotland. Fought in all these countries. Was supposed to fight Conor McGregor and it just didn't happen.
I saw that in an interview. You had 2 scheduled fights with him. He had an injury in one, and you had an injury in another. Is that what happened?
Yeah. So just fate didn't let us scrap. So, but then and then from there, I think I was like 13-1 at the time. I had 11 submissions. You know, jiu-jitsu was my main part of fighting, and I think. After that, I had I defended a title like 3 times, and then I finally got a call. I remember I was on my way to work at 6:00 in the morning, and my coach says like, "Hey man, check your email." And I go and check my email, and then I just pull over and start crying. And and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we did it." And that was it. First fight was in Abu Dhabi.
How does your family feel about the whole about fighting? I mean, I'm sure they're probably okay with jiu-jitsu, but you know, stepping in the ring the first time and now doing bare knuckle fighting, how do they feel?
My mom, since my first fight, has been like, "All right, that's it, right?" Like she's been wanting me to quit since the beginning. And then I remember when I made it to the UFC, she's like, "Okay, you made it to the UFC," and I'm like, "But mom, now I'm making money finally."
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, I'm gonna keep going. My wife has always been supportive of me. We've been together since high school. So she was with me wrestling. She just understands that competition in me.
Yeah.
That just needs to be competing. There's nothing like it. Win or lose, I just want to keep going.
Now, do you let your kids see you fight? Do they ever go out to the fights? Because I think I saw your wife was actually in your corner. I watched a couple of your fights in the last week, and I see her in your corner. Are your kids at these fights, or do they watch them on TV, or do you just kind of not don't want them to see daddy fighting?
Right. So at first we were going to bring them to the fights and everything. And I brought him to Abu Dhabi, my son, when he was only like 6 months old. We kept bringing them, but I never really had bad fights, I'd say, where I got beat up for the most part, you know? So it was always like, boom, boom, I came in, maybe I won really fast or somehow everything was okay. So my last fight in the UFC, I had a split decision, and it was back and forth, and I was kind of like bloodied, you know, and my son, I remember, was like, my wife was telling me like, "No, get daddy out of there," you know? So ever since then, I haven't taken them to any fights, really. Okay. I take them to jiu-jitsu all the time, but not fights anymore.
Do all the kids do jiu-jitsu? Do they train with you?
Yeah, they do jiu-jitsu and kickboxing.
What's your take on the age that kids should start jiu-jitsu or shouldn't start jiu-jitsu before a certain age? What's your take?
I think definitely if you're just doing it as like a fun thing for your kid, like, hey, like very encouraging to them to do it, and be like, hey, you got to do it 3 days a week. You know, that's all I'm asking out of you or something. That's really what I encourage most parents. I don't try to get kids. I'm not for kids with that competition stuff a lot. You know, I want kids to compete and I want them to learn about it. But I feel I can't tell you the amount of kids that I've seen that were great. You can tell that they were going to have a good jiu-jitsu career if they kept to it. But I think sometimes their parents were just too hard on them with jiu-jitsu and then they quit. I know so many like that. So I don't know, man. I'm real iffy with it. I want jiu-jitsu to be fun. I want them to learn. I want them to compete too, but I want them to learn, hey man, you win some, you lose some, get back on the mat, have fun. But I don't know, for me, maybe like 5 or 6 is the best age. Like start it off fun with them, couple days a week. Make it that they want to be there.
play jiu-jitsu, right? They've got to feel like they're playing jiu-jitsu.
I'm really a fan of those Gracie games.
You know it. That's where I get that from. I know they talk about when the Hirdon and Henner were little, that they played jiu-jitsu. They were never forced to do it. It became a playful thing, passing guard, playing with their dad.
I also feel like if you're gonna have your kid do jiu-jitsu, like show him, lead by example, right? Mm-hmm. And go out and go to classes. Jiu-jitsu is for everybody. So there's nothing better than that, than for your son or daughter to see, hey man, look, mommy and daddy are doing it.
Yeah.
So make it a family thing.
So let's talk about the Bare Knuckle Fighting now. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. How the heck did this come about? I mean, I'm a boxing fan growing up. That's how I even got into watching the UFC and martial arts. I used to watch boxing with my dad on Saturday afternoons when it was Wide World of Sports as a kid. Saturday afternoon fights out in the parking lot in Vegas. Right. But bare knuckle fighting is new for me. I've seen it. I see the quick clips on Instagram. Your fights are the first fights that I've seen now in full. To be honest, right? It's I knew it was out there. It was just so. It just feels so. Yeah, exactly, crazy and wild. How did this come about? Let's start there.
Man, so I was pretty much done fighting. In 2018, I decided to open up my school. I had an MMA fight after coming back from my ACL meniscus surgery, and I can just tell in the fight, it was in Russia, that my heart just wasn't there anymore. And it was the first time I was ever even put in a submission in 19 MMA fights. And I just kind of took that like, okay, I think I'm done. I can't believe this happened. So started my school, and I just wanted to show my students now about competition, and how it's just to compete. And I didn't compete a lot anymore when I got in the UFC because I was so afraid to get hurt. And I didn't want to mess up my career. So I stopped competing in jiu-jitsu and stuff as much as I used to. But when I opened up the gym, I just started competing anything, combat jiu-jitsu, whatever, just to show them. And then somebody from Bare Knuckle just reached out to me, and they were like, hey, we're looking for a fight. Someone gave me your name, wanted to know if you're interested. And I was like, well, how much are you paying? And they told me something. And I was like, no, definitely not worth it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. I haven't even watched like you. I never even watched a fight. I knew of Jason Knight and Artem Lobov because I had history with those guys. So I knew that they fought a bare knuckle fight. Never watched it before. And so then he goes, oh, okay. So then he had the president called me from David Feldman, the president of it. And he was like, hey, I'm sorry that they offered you that. That was, an embarrassment of an offer, blah, blah, blah. He made me a new offer. And I was like, oh, let me talk to my wife, And so talked to my wife, and we're like, well, let's watch it.
That was probably a mistake.
And I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But then we're watching and we're like, oh man, some of the fights are really fast or something, not all of them are like this one, the Jason Knight and Artem fight. And so I talked to my boxing coach, and we just he's like, man, I don't know. I don't want to do this. And I'm like, man, I just want to say I did it again. I'm like, I want to just be the person who just did any kind of combat sport and wasn't really a true fighter, a true mixed martial artist. I don't want to say that I was scared of anything. So we tried, and it was just going to be just a one and done kind of thing. And I prepared myself to come out beat up. I was like, man, for anything, I'm going to come out beat up probably, but hey, at least I can say I did it. I went in and I knocked the guy out in 40 seconds. Wow. Didn't take one hit. So I was like, oh man. And so
I'm good at
whatever,
this.
Maybe that was it. No, that was it still. That was it still. Then they call me up, and he's like, hey, we have a short notice fight against Leonard Garcia. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, that's awesome. I grew up watching Leonard Garcia and stuff too, man. And it was the main event. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, well, how much you're offering? And they gave me an offer. I'm like, no, man, that's not worth it. Went back and forth, and then came to the right numbers, and got, just took a short notice fight against Leonard Garcia and then just won crazy quick again. And it was just crazy because I've never was known for punching. Like I said, in most of my MMA fights, I took the guy down and submitted them. But I was just having fun again. And the fights were fun. It felt like I was like, honestly, in high school, like having a fight behind the portables again, you know? And so I just kept doing it. And I was like, hey, the number one rule I told my wife and my coach, you know, those two are always cornering me, and my best friend. I was like, the number one rule, and when this is not fun anymore, we quit, you know? And that's the number one rule. Have fun, work hard, you know, and nothing else matters. So that's all we've been doing, man. And it's been a fun time. And that's really much how it started.
So you are now, is it 3-1?
I'm 4-1 now. I just lost my first fight.
Okay.
Correct.
I watched that press conference. It was the press conference at weigh-ins. There was a little girl in the background, and I'm like, I hope these guys don't go at it. There's a little girl right there. But you guys, there was a lot of trash talking in that fight, I see. Palomino?
Yes. Honestly, it was more for me to just sell the fight.
Yeah.
You know, I would say him and I trained together and everything, and we were supposed to fight. And then when I saw that he got a title fight before me somehow, like because whole COVID situation, I got a little bit salty, so I just started playing that role of man, okay, so. But I think it did a good job. I think it sold. I mean, that place was sold out, and I think it sold a lot of tickets and everything. But him and I are real cool still.
Yeah.
We talked and everything plenty of times after that.
Is there a rematch in your future?
So I've been fighting at 155. The majority of my career was at 145 pounds. I'm a natural 145er.
Okay.
But you know, I'm walking around right now. I'm probably like 168 pounds.
Okay.
And so the cut to 155 is not bad, and it's been fun. But I just I don't know. I just want fun fights. You know, the title, I had my chance, and it just didn't go my way at all. If it happens in the future, it happens. But it could be at 145, it could be at 155, it could be at 165. You know, I'm open to all those weight classes.
So what do you do differently to train for a bare knuckle fight than you did with? I somewhat obvious, but I want the listeners to hear you talk about it. You know, what's different from an MMA fight to a bare knuckle fight? What is the month leading up? Is it a full training camp? Is it a 3-month training camp? Is it just a couple of weeks? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so my first 4 fights were all pretty short fight camps. And then this one was my longest fight camp. And I think it kind of messed with me a little bit more. So I definitely think I would have shorter fight camps in the future again. But the key to me definitely is cardio, right? The rounds are short. They're 2-minute rounds. So if you can keep going for those 2 minutes nonstop, then you're on top of the game, right? If I can out-tire you, then you can have better technique, anything than me. But because you're tired, I'm going to take advantage of that. So that's been one thing is key with cardio. And I actually do a lot of like Greco style wrestling because in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, you can clinch. So I like to work from there, working that just movement, controlling the head, turning your body in certain ways while throwing punches. So a lot of that dirty boxing. You
can hold and hit, right? You can grab behind the head.
I can hold onto your arm, punch, as long as I'm actively punching.
Okay.
So those 2 things and just hand speed is what I really work with my boxing coach. But I still train everything still. I think I train jiu-jitsu every single day still, no matter if I have a bare knuckle fight or not. You know, I train kickboxing, I train MMA. I just train a little bit. I guess I up my pad work a little bit more and my cardio, sprints.
Is there any sparring? I can't see you doing bare knuckle sparring, but is there any sparring on the lead up?
So I don't spar really at all. I probably stopped. I don't know how long ago. I just figured, why would I get punched in the head for free? I know how to fight. You know, you can't condition that. You've only got so many hits to the head before your brain just kind of shuts off. That's just one thing you can't condition. No matter if you have headgear or anything, you're still constant blows to the head is not good. So I'll do very light sparring, but not the sparring that sometimes you see that these guys are getting dropped in a round or something like that. And I'll do light sparring or maybe like once every 2 weeks just to get movement going. So definitely not a fan of that. And I don't hit pads without my gloves on. We tried that one time and my hands were just like destroyed for like 2 days. So I use gloves. And when I get closer to the fight, I drop down to like MMA gloves. That's about it.
So the most interesting thing I found when I watched these a couple of your fights this week, they bring you to the center of the ring. For those of you who haven't seen this yet, again, I'm new to this, but I'm already a fan now.
People are, man. Most people are.
They bring you to the center of the ring. Figure that the ref gives you those final instructions, and I'm waiting for them to go back, and you don't. And you guys have your feet on the line, and what do they say? Knuckle up.
Yeah.
And you guys are starting from probably, what is that? Maybe a foot or two, let's call it 2 feet, if that. You're 2 feet apart, and you're just going at it. In your mind, I think you kind of answered this before, maybe, in your mind, is the strategy to try to knock his head off as quickly as possible and get out of there? Is that the reason that they started there? They want to see action?
Yeah, they want to see action. That's been my strategy for all my fights. I was just like, man, I got to be first. I remember my dad, told me growing up, man, if someone gets in your face, they're in your face because, they want to hurt you or something. So definitely hit them first if something happens, and I'm like, all right, so we're in that situation. We're this close. I know if I hit you first, it's especially with those bare knuckle, one hit, it's just like, oh man, what just happened? So it's worked my first 4 fights. This last fight with Palomino, he definitely studied it and capitalized and did good at backing up while throwing punches too, which most people, they just kind of covered up. So I don't know. I got to maybe put 2 of the best, put it together, a little bit more with coming forward, but also strategizing a little bit more differently.
So I don't know if I asked you this before. Do you have a bare knuckle fight coming? Do you know when your next fight is? It's a little soon. Your last fight was just a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I was ready to fight. As soon as my cuts healed up, I wanted to get back in ASAP. I had, such a good fight camp, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want it to go to waste. My last fight was crazy fast. It was over in like 40 seconds, and I was just ready to go again as soon as my cuts healed. But they just, the way that it works, they just want to, they have, it's a new promotion, so they want to use their guys for different fights. So they have a fight coming up with somebody that they want to use, and I think we're looking about February or March.
So I have an interesting question. Again, watch some of your interviews and the fights recently. So what's different between this organization and the UFC? You had made a comment, if it's okay. I don't want to get political, and if you don't want to answer this, and sometimes I don't want you taking shots at the UFC by any chance. But you talked about kind of feeling like a sheep, or at least the fighters in the UFC were like sheep. That there's a lot of sheep there. What's the difference? How did that feeling come about, and what's the difference between the UFC and bare knuckle fighting?
I think like just in the UFC, almost it's everyone's goal. Like, man, I want to make it to the UFC. So the UFC I remember they sent me a contract that was like this big. And I was like, this is something I've been working for, the last 10 years or so. I don't care what it says, sign. And I think so many people probably do the same thing. And, and it's, they can set the pay, almost. If it's just like, hey, we're going to give you actually, instead of 12-12, we're going to give you guys starting now 9-9. And because no one else is offering that you just have to kind of go with it. And no matter what it is, hey, we're going to take away your sponsors. We're going to make a Reebok your sponsor thing now. And if you have a problem with it, there's nothing really you can do with it. Maybe you can try to go to Bellator or something, but are you going to get the same amount of fame? That's what people, when they think UFC, I'm going to get big like Conor McGregor, or, there's not a lot of those in the world. But I think, and you're also, I talked to Dana White, I don't know, Like maybe he shook my hand one time, but I'm sure he'll never remember who I am. But in Bare Knuckle, it's very like family oriented, man. He has, his son working, doing another part, some of his best friends. I think he knows every fighter that's been on the card. I think he personally talks to them. David Feldman. He's always been a man of his word with me. He talks to me personally. It's just something different, man. It has like that small show feel, but as you can see, it's just blowing up.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely a fan. I'm definitely gonna I'll be watching the next fight live. So how does your BJJ, your jiu-jitsu play into your performance in the ring? Do you feel like that makes you a better fighter? I mean, obviously this is stand-up, but do you feel like you use any of those elements from jiu-jitsu in the ring when you're fighting bare knuckle?
Yeah, I think I've shouted out Wagner a couple of times because like I have a lot of his style in my jiu-jitsu of that, like, just, I want to like make it not fun for you, and so that's really like the mindset too sometimes that I bring into that. And I want to like, make you feel my weight, like move you around. Definitely like when I tie up with you, it's like I'm almost punching you in the back of the neck kind of thing. And so that definitely like plays a part of my jiu-jitsu is, in my fighting style, my jiu-jitsu style, my fighting style is very similar, that I'm just trying to constantly move, put you in bad positions, make it uncomfortable for you.
You mentioned combat jiu-jitsu before. Have you done any combat jiu-jitsu fights? You smiled a little bit there as soon as I said it. Do you like that? Do you like fighting combat jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I've tried it. I did it for a promotion called Combat Night. Okay. I won their combat jiu-jitsu title, and I was supposed to be on Eddie Bravo's Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. Mm-hmm. I was going to go up to middleweight. I was just like, I just want to do it. And like I said, I'm 169, 170, mm-hmm. and so I was just going to jump in there with these middleweights. I ended up hurting my rib, had to pull out. But I went this weekend to Mexico, and I went with one of my training partners, Danny Colazzo. He trains on the Wagner Roadshow. And I got to talk to Eddie, and I was like, hey, I was supposed to be on your show. This happened, hurt my rib, blah, blah, blah. And so he assured me that I'll be on the 170 Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. So I'm excited about that because I don't know. I love it, man. I love that I get to mix jiu-jitsu and striking together. So it's pretty fun.
Do you see yourself ever stepping back into a cage, whether it's like a Bellator? I mean, it doesn't sound like you'd ever be in the, do a UFC fight again if they called, but a Bellator or any of the smaller organizations, is that in the cards for you, or are you happy where you are with bare knuckle?
No, I'm very happy where I am with bare knuckle, but I think I'm going to talk to David. It's just like a bucket list thing that I want to do. Is I have 19 MMA fights, and so I just want to get that 20th MMA fight, and just to say I fought 20 times in the cage. But that's really all. I think after bare knuckle, definitely my focus is my students. I have 3 shows that we're going to this December of some of my students fighting. And I just want to grow those guys and think it's almost time, for that next generation.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your gym down in South Florida. Let's make sure everybody knows where to find you. How long have you been open now?
We're just past our 2-year mark in October. We opened up, like I said, I was working at another school. It closed down. And I was just like, you know what? I've been teaching for a lot of people, and I feel like I can do this. And opened up the school. I think with my wife and I both having our degree in education, it kind of helps with the way that the schools ran and how we teach. She kind of jumped in to start helping me teach. She's a blue belt now, and she's doing such a good job as well. We're located in West Pembroke Pines, so it's almost as far as you can go in Pembroke Pines West. And
before the Everglades.
Before the Everglades, okay. Yeah, right on 27, pretty much next to West Broward High School. So if anyone knows the area, it's in Chapel Trail. We're like in these warehouses on Johnson and 27, and been doing awesome. I'm so happy that we like made it through these hard times. It's not over yet, but I think for a lot of gyms it was very sad. I was on Instagram and I'll see many gyms closing down. A lot of people were posting this this photo of like the coach in the middle with all the mats gone, and I saw that photo many different times in different scenarios, and I was just like, man, and I was just thank God that I was able to keep it through. We were doing Zoom classes and park classes and whatever we could to just keep the members engaged, and just happy that we're back and we're training, and hopefully it stays that way.
So kids or adults? Tell us about like your kids program to the adults.
Yeah, so we have kids classes Monday through Friday. I teach jiu-jitsu and I teach a little bit of everything to the kids. So I don't have just jiu-jitsu every day. I teach jiu-jitsu on Mondays, kickboxing on Tuesdays, Wednesdays jiu-jitsu, Thursday kickboxing, and then Friday I mix it up together and I do an MMA class for them as well. I have a 4 to 6 year old class from 5 to 5:45, and then from 5:45 to 6:30, I have a 7 to 12 year old class.
And then adults after that?
And then I have adults right after that. So I have jiu-jitsu and kickboxing Monday through Thursday every single day, whether it's no gi or gi. So usually it's Monday and Wednesday is gi, Tuesday and Thursday is no gi. And then we have kickboxing Monday through Thursday also. And then Friday we have jiu-jitsu and an MMA for adults. All right. And then Saturday we have open mat every Saturday.
Okay. So let's go back to COVID real quick. I mean, give me your thoughts on the gyms having to close. I mean, for a short amount of time, I guess. But, how did you guys make it through? What'd you say? Zoom? Did you have to close for a period of time?
So, yeah, we were closed for about 3 months or so before they allowed us to go back. Honestly, I'm not even sure if we're allowed to be doing jiu-jitsu anymore still. But we don't have any windows or anything in our gym. And a lot of gyms had to like cover up their windows and all this craziness so that they can exercise, do jiu-jitsu. So we did Zoom classes during that time. I taught Zoom classes to kids and adults, one time in the morning, one time in the evening, every single day, Monday through Saturday I did. And then when parks kind of opened back up, I would just like, hey guys, let's go do workouts at the park. Whether it's, hey, let's all go for a run together. Let's all go off for a bike ride. Just trying to keep them engaged and know like, hey man, we can. I just want you guys to stay healthy, stay active. We can do it outside of the gym as well.
All right, cool. So let's give you an opportunity to shout out some of your sponsors. You got the floor here. Let's make sure they know you're on. Awesome.
Man, I got Fusion CBD. They're a CBD company that's definitely been helping me out a ton. I healed up crazy fast using their products from my last fight.
It's a topical for the cuts.
Yeah, it's a topical I put up. My stitches were out. I was already training, I think, the same week after the fight almost. Also, Honest Amish is a beard product company that I use. As you can see, like my beard is pretty awesome. So I see that you can grow a good one too, man. So I definitely I gotta hook you up, man. We're gonna get you there. I gotta hook you up with some of those products. I got something I can hand out to you.
Very cool, man.
Sure. Man, I got Hydrolife. It's a alkaline water company that they sponsored my gym. They give us giant bottles of water for the gym constantly. It's the only water that I drink, honestly. When I try to drink regular water, it just tastes weird and funny now to me.
Yeah.
So I use that one. Healthy One is my supplement company. They pretty much, I suck with taking supplements, and this guy's awesome. He'll break it down, offer me, tell me what I need to use, when I need to use it. I don't like to take anything that I don't know what it is, into my body just because someone tells me. So I'm like, hey man, I appreciate you giving me all this stuff, but tell me about it, because if I don't know what it is, I'm not going to put it in my body. And so he's been awesome with that. So definitely appreciate them over there. Yeah, man, I got so many. I can't think of them all right now. But
That's all right, man.
Those are definitely the main ones. I'm blessed that I got, just sponsors have been coming in lately, and appreciate everybody.
That's very cool. So let everybody know where they can find you. Social media.
Yeah, so I'm most active on my Instagram, and it's at Fight Jim, FIGHTJIM. A lot of people think it's like the gym that you're training.
Yeah,
but just Jim like my name. So at Fight Jim, and pretty active on that with my stories, and I'll post just things from my school, which is at Alers Martial Arts, as well. Just showing about my family, my life, just the fight life kinda, and I love to eat, always showing food.
I saw in your bio on your Instagram, it said foodie. I wasn't expecting to see that at the bottom. Father, foodie.
Oh man, like one of my main things when I travel is what's the best place to eat and where's the nearest jiu-jitsu gym?
Yeah. Well, you definitely where do you guys live? You're down in the Miami area too? You're in Pembroke Pines?
We live in West Davie.
Okay.
All right, Broward.
So I mean, South Florida. I mean, it's the land of like any kind of food, any restaurant you could, you'd want to find. Brazilian, Cuban, Puerto Rican. I mean, we got everything down here.
I love it, man. That's one of my favorite things about living here.
Jim, man, listen, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking it easy on me when we rolled in the gym on that open mat. I appreciate that. It made me look good, But thank you for coming on. We appreciate you. I'll let you know when this comes out. Listen, let's a couple of months, let's get an update, have you back on. We'll talk a little bit more, see where you're at. And again, we appreciate you for coming on, man. Thank you so much.
For sure, man. Sounds good. Thank you.
All righty, brother. Take care, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Cool dude, man. Right? Pretty awesome guy, man.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, he's he really did take it easy on me in the gym when we rolled at that open mat. So let me get the logo scroll back up here.
I thought he was like 6'5" or something from the way he appeared in the video, and then when he said he's 145, 155, it's like, whoa, that's 2/3 of me.
Yeah, he's 155. Geez, I'm usually right around 230.
I'm at 185 right now. So
yeah. So, good guy. Again, he was awesome in the gym. I've got this thing about people that visit the gym and rolling with them for the first time, and I think I wound up actually drilling with him that day. And he was, he's almost a second degree black belt, I believe. He said he's a black belt for 6 years, so he'd be getting a second degree soon. And it could easily come into a gym and start smashing everybody. And he was fun to roll with. So thank you for staying with us, guys. Just a couple of housekeeping things. This is really cool stuff, so don't go anywhere. If you're a competitor, a parent, or a coach who wants get their kids into events, we talked a little bit about tournaments today. You can raise money for the Jiu Jitsu Dummies Foundation. Details are in the podcast description, either on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. You can sign up, set up a page, and start posting online. You can share with your family and friends and raise $300 for the foundation, which, again, the foundation awards jiu-jitsu scholarships to, just kind of cool kids that have done amazing or doing amazing things with their life in and outside of jiu-jitsu. If you raise $300, we'll pay up to $100 of your entrance fee to your next tournament. You raise $500 or more, and we'll also send you a gi from Flow and Roll. Raise $1,000 or more and get a $100 entrance fee, the gi, and a $100 gift card to our podcast store. So if you're trying to get to an event anywhere in the world, in or outside of the U.S., we'll do the same. It doesn't matter where you are. All right. You can also follow that same link and make a one-time donation or recurring donation. So if you feel like, hey, listen, I want to donate, but I can't give $100 or $20, listen, donate $5 a month. You can set up a recurring donation. We'll really appreciate it, and it'll go to good use. You can check us out on IG, the foundation itself, at the JJD Foundation, or on Facebook, just, facebook.com/the Jiu Jitsu Dummies Foundation, completely spelled out. Always a special thank you to Dave Kaidash from High Road BJJ and High Road Revolution. He's been a huge supporter of the foundation. We very much appreciate everything he's done. And because of him and also Fight Back CBD, we're able to award our third scholarship now. So we'll have 3 scholarship winners having their monthly tuition paid for. If you need help getting more students to your gym, hit me up. My day job, I'm in the marketing field. It's why, like not bragging, Bo, but it's why the podcast has been successful. We didn't just put out a podcast; we marketed the podcast. We got it out in front of people. We did things to we did things to get it out in front of people. I think that's a huge mistake. This is not build it and they will come, and neither is a gym. If you set up a gym, you got to get your GMB in check. You got to be posting to social media. You've got to retarget people who visited your website with ads. There's a lot that you can do. Hit me up. Go to @Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram or @Uncle Milty BJJ. Shoot me a direct message. Send me your phone number. I'll give you a call. We'll talk a little bit. My day job is different from the podcast. That's what I do for another company, 9 to 5 every day. You can check out the podcast store at jujitsudummies.shop. Get 15% off with code JJD. Really, all of our sponsors, we have them do JJD. So if you've heard us mention somebody, for the most part, except for the new sponsors today, which are just, brand new relationships, you can, at War Bar, at who else? At Fight Back, and at our podcast store, use JJD. Just always remember JJD. But in the shop, go to jujitsudummies.shop, 15% off with code JJD. We have new ranked rash guards, tees, face shields, backpacks, coffee mugs, and we always give you free shipping in the U.S. on orders over $50. Okay? If you'd like to support the show, which this is really, really super helpful, again, you could do a recurring donation at Patreon. That's directly for the show. That's not foundation. Patreon.com. patreon.com/Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. You can join and be automatically entered in to win $100 worth of a drawing for $100 worth of jiu-jitsu swag every single month. Sometimes it's flow and roll. Sometimes it's a podcast store gift card. It changes. We're starting to get some of our other sponsors to put up donations as well. So High Road's going to be doing something for one of our past Patreon winners too. So shout out to our current podcast patrons. We've got Robert Walker. He's Bridger's dad, who won our scholarship. So he's a lifetime podcast patron now. Frank House, Liam Berg, Wolsey Rivera, Boa Athletics. Check out their shirts. He's got some really cool designs that he's been posting. Check them out on IG at Boa, BOA_athletics with an S. Check them out again on IG. Michael Pixley Jr., Jason Smiley, Britt Tovar. I said her name wrong on the last podcast. I said Tovar. It's Tovar. James Fisher, CJ Carroll, Mission 22, Chuck Reddoor, and Roberto Santiago. That's it, Bo. You got anything you want to tell the people?
That's it. We're done already?
We're done with a shorter podcast today, but I had a lot of fun talking to Jim. You can get me at Uncle Milty BJJ on IG. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Us. Doo-doo. 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 And the crash.